One of Hollywood's most beloved celebrities, once representing elegance and sophistication, this figure is now caught up in a storm so strong that it is threatening the foundations of his profession. Instead of being the unstoppable star he once was, George Clooney is fighting for his career survival, facing criticism and rejection from a sector that seems ready to move on without him. This isn't just a story about an actor going through a slump. It's a window into the chaos of Hollywood itself. What happens when the spotlight that once lit your path becomes the harsh scrutiny of the public eye? Keep an eye out, because this isn't just about Clooney. It's also about how quickly things can change in a field that, if Hollywood were a high school cafeteria, would one day adore you and then desert you. The early months of 2025 have not only been difficult for Clooney, but they have also been a total failure. Clooney was recently demoted from the popular table to dining solo in the janitor's closet. There is no midlife crisis here. It's a career catastrophe. But keep up with the newest events in Hollywood by liking and subscribing to the channel before we get into all of this drama. Now let's paint the picture, because 2024 proved to be his year of backlash. A record-breaking, all-consuming, disastrous backlash. George Clooney, who aspires to have a phenomenal presence in Hollywood, is now desperately attempting to save his career. Clooney would win gold, silver, and bronze if PR catastrophes were an Olympic competition. The main cause of this chaos is Clooney's desperate attempt to win back Hollywood's favor. It all started with a politically charged commercial that not only failed, but completely destroyed expectations. It was a PR nightmare in the blink of an eye. Clooney changed from a well-liked celebrity to a contentious figure in less time than you might imagine. Clooney has worked in the business for decades, so you would think he would have a good crisis management plan ready. Instead, his methods have been like throwing spaghetti against a wall and hoping something sticks. Perhaps he should have kept his mouth shut. Spoiler alert, nothing sticks. Clooney has apologized in a way that has been awkward at best and downright embarrassing at worst.
Well, you know what? He realizes that he's winning. I think that's bothering you, Bill.
Well, it is bothering me because, again, he's an insurrectionist who doesn't believe in democracy, so of course it's bothering me. And of course he's also insane and a criminal and stupid.
Except for that, Bill.
But I gotta say,
for that, I'll vote for him.
Like, what works for him, like when that clip you just shown, I mean, look, he's almost the same age as Biden, but Biden presents as old, ancient.
Yeah.
That does not look old.
Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't.
He does not present as old.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like Kiss. He puts on the wig and the face paint, and it's 1976 all over again.
Those were the days.
His request to appear on Real Time with Bill Maher was one of his most desperate attempts to salvage his reputation, much like a badly done reality show audition where the contestant is certain they are acing it, but obviously aren't. Though Maher's show isn't exactly a haven for sincere admissions, Clooney's staff apparently thought it would be the perfect place for a public apology. The goal was to simply apologize, give his side of the story, and hopefully remind the public why they once admired him. However, HBO executives weren't persuaded. This is where it gets interesting. At first, Maher didn't object to having Clooney on the show. In fact, according to sources, he was amenable to the idea until it became obvious that Clooney wasn't looking for a sincere conversation. Rather, it was just about damage control. Once that became clear, Maher reportedly told HBO, "Thanks, but no thanks," and that was the end of it. However, Clooney's team didn't give up. No, they returned not once, twice, but 3 times, begging for a spot on Real Time. At this point, it wasn't just a rejection, it was an escalation. From mildly annoyed to completely fed up. By the 3rd request, Maher apparently told HBO executives to stop talking about burning bridges altogether. As if the HBO drama wasn't bad enough, Clooney also tried to get on The View, which you would think would be a safer option during the day, but he was unsuccessful. According to sources, Sunny Hostin was not having any of it. She made it obvious that she didn't want Clooney on the show, because she was afraid that his presence would worsen their already unstable ratings.
George Clooney wrote an op-ed piece in the New York Times claiming that after he saw Biden's condition at the recent fundraiser, he doesn't think he's up for the gig. George Clooney, couldn't he tell him that in person, for God's sakes? He has to write an op-ed piece?
I will be damned if I will use whatever little platform I have to demean and weaken our commander-in-chief, the one man standing between Donald Trump.
Not only was Clooney rejected, but it was a public slap in the face. For someone like Clooney, who has long been regarded as Hollywood royalty, being rejected by a daytime talk show is like being told you're not good enough to get a free sample at Costco. The most embarrassing aspect of all this chaos is Clooney's incapacity to read the room. Although Hollywood has always been erratic, recent years have seen an unparalleled increase in its instability due to public attention, with Clooney's every move being closely scrutinized. Rather than taking a step back to reevaluate, he is intensifying his bad decisions. Even the most seasoned public relations specialists were unable to control the immediate and intense backlash, with social media erupting in a tornado of condemnation following his most recent politically charged commercial. In addition to the issue of his public image, Clooney made an attempt at apology, but his efforts came off as phony, adding gasoline to the flames. For years, Clooney has received accolades for being the epitome of the Hollywood charmer. But by 2025, that charm had started to turn into conceit, and his advocacy was being seen as performative.
Stern has declared himself woke as all hell, and there's a reason he's doing that. The reason is because he spent the last several decades being an absolutely degraded piece of bleep. I mean, if you have ever listened to Howard Stern's show, this is not a person with high moral principle, and yet now he reflects all of the highest principles of the far left. Why? Because that buys you immunity in this world. He's transgressive when it comes to, things sexual, but he's not transgressive when it comes to his politics. When it comes to his politics, he's a down-the-line lefty all the way up to and including everything related to the 97th vaccine dose. Again, this is the sort of stuff that buys you immunity. The true vaccination in Hollywood is being a leftist.
Due to the public's lack of trust in his appearances and the rejection of him by big outlets like HBO, Clooney's alternatives are becoming increasingly limited. His team is reportedly now considering alternate outlets like The Howard Stern Show, but that's a hazardous move. There's no guarantee that Stern, who is known for his unrestrained approach, will sympathize with Clooney's situation. In fact, if Clooney isn't careful, an appearance on Stern's show may go horribly wrong. In the meantime, Hollywood is going through a lot of upheaval. Studios are cutting back on their budgets, and actors, directors, and writers are fighting to keep their jobs in this climate. Clooney, who has become a magnet for controversy, isn't exactly in high demand. Major studios are reportedly only giving him low-budget projects, which is a sharp contrast to the blockbuster movies he once starred in. Clooney's downfall is only one facet of a bigger problem in the industry, which is that established platforms like The View and Real Time are putting their own reputations ahead of supporting taboo figures instead. The future of George Clooney is uncertain. It is unclear whether he will make a comeback. But one thing is certain. This isn't just a minor setback. It's a complete career crisis. What do you think? Is this the end of the road for Clooney, or does he still have a chance to turn things around? This shift is making room for independent platforms and podcasts to take the spotlight. Shows like The Joe Rogan Experience are already becoming more popular as audiences move away from mainstream Hollywood content.